And yeah, Amanda, welcome back.
Yeah.
Why don't you start off by telling everyone a little bit more about who you are again and what you do?
Yes, so I'm Amanda, a nurse by background. I've been with Forest Healthcare I'm in my sixth year now. And yes, it's been busy times. We all know what we've been through over the last few years.
Mm.
COVID is the biggie, the pandemic. Goodness, what a time that was. And think about that. That's 5 years ago this month, which is quite incredible. But then when we look at all the other kind of mini force majeures that have happened to the sector,
Mm.
the war in Ukraine and the impact that that
Yeah.
had on finances, the Israeli conflict and how that's impacted people. It just feels like there's been every year some new story that has had impact um,
Yes.
on the sector. So, would it be nice to have a quiet 2025? It's not looking that way so far, really, is it? From a
No.
macro perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you look at the wider world, there's lots going on. And then if you look at the challenges in the sector this year from national insurance contributions and the living wage,
Yeah.
it
That's on the horizon too, isn't it? Yeah.
continues, yes. So, Adam, I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the things that we can do to continue championing the amazing stuff that
Mm.
happens in social
Mm.
care. As you know, the feedback from our customers, our residents, and their families will always be a priority to me. I think it's very dangerous to step away from that being a priority.
Mm.
And it's how, historically great organizations can fall because they stop listening to what the customer's telling them
Mm.
and the consumer's telling them. So, over the years, carehome.co.uk has been a great platform for us to be
Mm.
able to do that. And I was so pleased, and it's so timely for this podcast today to learn last night that for the sixth year running, we're top 20 medium provider with carehome.co.uk, and two
Mm.
of our homes recognised for that regional top 20 accolade as well. The recognition is fabulous,
Mm.
but what sits behind that is striving to be the very best that you can, and that being fed back to you and reiterated through your residents, through the families, and listening to what they tell you.
Mm. Mm.
And for me, what's even more exciting is when those reviews reflect your core values as core living values. So, our core values to offer choice, to go above and beyond, to show respect, empathy, and always give support. When
Mm.
those words or words that describe them pull
Mm.
through to our reviews, that tells me that our core values aren't just a strap line on the website, something that we have a nice frame at the front of our homes, but they're living values that we recognise. So we continue to strive to be the best that we possibly can. And throughout the year, we've built to the case now that 7 of our 13 homes have scored the perfect 10, as
Wow.
we call it. So 10 out of 10.
It's amazing.
It's really been phenomenal. And it's been quite a journey, Adam, because it took us ages to
We'd
get
all
that.
like to get 10 out of 10 on everything,
I
but like
know,
10
10
out
out
of
of 10,
10
it
is
just
like,
gets back to
I'm not sure I get 10 out of 10 on anything as much as I'd like to try.
well, it reminds me of that spelling test at school in
Yeah.
primary, right? With the 10 out of 10, you're like, spell. But that 10, a few years ago, we had lots and lots of our homes at 9.9, but we just couldn't seem to get there. We got our first 10 and it was phenomenal. And I think there was a cultural mind shift change in our managers that were like,
Mm.
it is achievable.
Mm.
And I kept saying, like a broken record, it's like Roger Bannister. Nobody thought the 4 minute mile could be done. The following year, when that happened, suddenly lots of people achieved the 4 minute mile because something had changed in the belief and mindset you can do this. And now we have
Mm.
7 homes. So
Mm.
we keep going. Our customers' reviews are critically important to us. So
Yeah, well,
lots
obviously
of
you are doing something right. So let's just dig into that. So you talked about those values straight from the very top. So tell me about, how, with 13 homes, how do you ingrain these visions into your teams who are working, in the homes themselves? And
right.
tell me how you go about constructing it.
It's a really good question because I think that's where it begins is, the culture and the ethos of the team members that make this happen.
Mm,
Because so many of the reviews are about the direct care and support and kindness that's been delivered by our
mm,
teams at each of those homes. I mean, for me, your core values need to be something every single team member believes in and understands and knows how to deliver.
mm,
So, if you think about educate,
mm,
engage,
mm,
and enable as your premise for driving on your core values, you need to educate people not only what your core values are, but what they look like
mm,
and how to deliver them and how
mm.
to deliver them well. So that's your education piece, I think. Enable. So you can create core values, you can run as much training or learning and development as you like, but people have to be in the right climate to enable them to deliver. So that is around, having the right skill set, the right skill mix,
Mm,
the right staffing to create that culture of being able to deliver
mm,
what people have been educated to that match your core values, and then engaging with people to thank them. That engagement is so important. Thank you goes such a long way. We developed recognition pins that recognize each of our core living values. So
mm,
when we saw in motion and in practice somebody going above and beyond, showing the deepest of empathy to a particular circumstance with a resident, then those recognition pins are awarded to those team members. It's a consolidation of saying,
mm,
we've seen that you are living our core values, and
mm,
we want to say thank you by
mm.
recognizing that. So wear this pin with pride.
Oh, I see. So it's a physical pin that the
Yeah,
team member has, right? Okay.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
is.
I see.
It
Yeah.
is,
Okay.
and it's been a delight to see how valued they are by team members that wear them
Mm,
with pride. And we
mm.
have a small number, but growing, of team members that have achieved all 5 of those pins, and they wear them in their as their medals when they're working there. They're fantastic. So
So just go through those five again. The five, is it core values?
our core values to create living values. So we think that choice is imperatively important to all
Okay.
of, recognizing the above and beyond, which can be bandied around as a phrase, but if you think about a circumstance in your life where somebody's just gone that extra mile for you and how meaningful it is,
Mm,
choice above and beyond. Respect is critical.
yeah.
Not only respecting the person, but
Mm,
respecting holistically
got it.
about that person. Everything that you're doing being delivered with empathy,
Yeah.
understanding the person as they were, as they are now, and who they may become,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
and always supporting.
Right. I
So,
see. Yeah.
I want our residents and our team members to
Mm,
feel always supported.
mm.
There's always somebody to turn to. There's always something a problem can always be solved, and you're not alone. So that resonates across everybody that lives and works at Forest Healthcare.
Yeah, I see. And that's nice. And I can see that, of course, his recognition pins are a way because it's one thing, as you say, to educate. It's another thing for people to know what those values look like in practice, but then by, these rewards or gestures like recognition pins, you are essentially like proactively recognizing and celebrating when you see it. So that in itself is an ongoing, learning cycle for the team to
You've got it.
aspire. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I wanted it to be. It's a cycle that feeds
Mm,
itself. And what do we see at the end of that? We see reviews that reflect
mm.
those core values and that educate, engage, and enable
Yeah.
process is pulling through. So it's a continual virtuous circle. Uh,
Mm,
you
mm,
know, if those reviews fell away and we weren't climbing to the top as we are seeing that we've been able to do over previous years,
mm, mm,
then what's happening to our core values, and has the culture changed, and are those values no longer living values because we
mm.
can't see them in our reviews anymore?
Right,
So
I
it's
see.
a great sense check as well.
Yeah, yeah, I see.
Um,
And in terms of these recognition pins, just for example, so how does it work in practice? Is the recognition given by, I don't know, the managers or colleagues or you, or how does it work?
So that's completely dependent on time and
Mm,
circumstance. So when I can, I'll if I'm in a home and a recognition pin has
yeah,
been advocated for a team member, then I'm delighted to award it.
yeah,
Our operations and quality team, our chief operating officer, anybody can participate in that
right.
celebration to make sure that that person's awarded. And
I
of course,
see.
exclude anybody across the group. So,
Mm,
we have presented recognition pins that have been nominated by the home manager for some of
mm.
the leadership team
Yeah, all
and
right.
the
Okay.
operations team for some of the home managers.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
see.
so and I was nominated for one, Adam, which made me
Well,
really
there you
happy.
go. That's nice.
So anyone can
Which
nominate
one? Which
anybody
one?
above and beyond. So
Ah, what did you
yeah,
do? What was it? What was it for? Can you recall?
Oh,
Can you share?
I think it was after our company conference. We had a
Uh,
fantastic conference last year, and
yeah,
that the whole theme of the conference was around our core living values as well.
yeah,
So that's further recognition. So lots of the team members through the year that had received pins and been recognised had the opportunity to come along to our conference,
mm,
and that meant that we had every representation of role across the group at the conference. Our chairman was there, our non-executive director, the senior leadership team, our home managers and their deputies, but also we had people, chefs, our maintenance team,
right,
head housekeepers,
mm,
so we don't run this recognition and then say, but the conference is for special
mm,
people.
mm,
People that had gone above and beyond or achieved some or all of those, or activities teams, they were at that conference. It was joyous. It really was. And the engagement afterwards was phenomenal. So yes,
mm.
somebody said thank you. Gosh, it meant so much to me.
Oh, great,
I'm
good.
so
Right.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. That's nice. And I see. So yeah, fabulous. And question I have is that how do you go about encouraging families to, I know the system, but how do you go about encouraging families to put reviews on carehome.co.uk? How do you kind of systematize it?
So, in terms of process, there is a card or a slip
Mm,
which is made available to people in the home.
right.
Or they can go online and be directed towards carehome.co.uk. Our managers and their team will speak to people
Mm,
um, and invite them to review, but we make sure that we advertise carehome.co.uk and its purpose in the homes, because we don't want to secretly harvest 5-star reviews and submit them, or the family submit them. People can give a review whenever they want about
mm,
whatever they want.
mm.
Um, And that's also what I love about that review framework, that by letting families and residents know about that,
Mm,
you have to have confidence in what you're doing.
mm,
Or, not all, and you should welcome any feedback.
mm.
Any feedback is a gift. Any
Yeah.
feedback will tell you what you're doing well or otherwise.
Mm,
And
mm.
and our homes have had feedback which isn't as favourable as we want. But
Of
what that
course.
helps us go and understand better,
Mm,
um, not only at the home level and the care level, but is this, if we have a review that says there's something that could be improved, is that at home level, or is that something organisationally we should look
mm.
at? That
Yeah.
they're telling us that we should ask a broader and wider question. So helpful. Um,
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
so
mm,
digitally or manually on card, people can fill out a review.
mm,
We
mm,
proudly display our scores so that people can
mm.
ask questions and talk about it.
And it's but you have to be confident. Yeah, yeah. I mean the premise of obviously I speak to a lot of care home, owners and managers, being to be confident in getting those reviews and please I encourage you to do them does require, I guess, a degree of confidence that, you are doing well, but also this desire to get it and really know when it's not going so well is like as you say is like equally if not more important actually.
Absolutely.
And I just share something with you. So I compare, obviously, you're a care home provider. We're not that. We do something very different. But, our clients is like, I'm desperate always to know literally what they think of us, how they think we're doing. And we have our own systems. Obviously, it's different. We have a how we're doing springometer where we ask our clients to
I
say,
get
how
it.
are we doing from five, one,
Yeah,
1 out of 5. And, if they don't respond, I will prompt them to respond and say, yeah, we really want to know. Let's tell us,
yeah.
please. And, if it goes well, great, everyone's happy. But if we don't do well, like the same with you, we want to know exactly what happened and why, because we're going to do our utmost to try and fix it if it's something that we can fix. And with 13 care homes, you've really got to be confident everything's in place because otherwise it could just, could I guess could backfire. But I think that there's a degree of courage, I think, in like, I'm gonna really make sure we get these reviews. I really want to learn, really want to know, and be proactive on getting those reviews because I imagine some care homes are like less, I'm not so sure. But I guess
Okay.
being proactive on it shows that you are in a position of confidence, which is where you want
Agree.
to be, right?
And don't be afraid of the climb.
Mm,
I think all those years ago, our score was around low nines, high eights at 8.9, 8.8, 8.9, I think, in
mm,
2019 when I joined Forest Healthcare. So don't be afraid to climb.
yeah.
That's been many years of
Mm,
work.
mm,
And don't be complacent. A 10 can slide back. It's not a
yeah,
once
of
10.
course.
It's tattooed on the home, and you can never have it taken away. It's not like a gold medal at the Olympics.
Mm,
I've got this now forever. You have to work hard to retain that. But if
mm,
anybody hadn't focused on that as a helpful process for, of course, for marketing and to be proud of the
mm,
outcomes, but as
mm,
a way of driving, checking your living
mm,
core values as living values. Don't be afraid where you start. Be
mm,
excited about where you can get to,
yeah,
and celebrate the climb.
yeah.
And we all know in life, don't we? Progress isn't linear.
Mm,
We know that progress can sometimes look like a very messy path of snakes and ladders.
yes,
Don't be
yes.
afraid of that either. Just keep your eyes on where you want to be and why
Yeah,
you want to be there,
yeah.
and what it can instill and show the team that you're working with.
Yeah, yeah, I love what you shared here. I love this idea of the values and making sure that you educate, that you enable, and that's like, yeah, anecdotes of the recognition pins is great. And you know how the importance of being recognized and wanting to make sure you get those reviews from families that are honest and candid. So that's great. Now, just if we can turn to the veteran friendly initiatives that you're embracing, tell everyone a little bit more about that and why you think it's important.
Yes, so this came to me through one of our home managers.
Right.
Um, and I love the fact I love it when a home manager brings something to you
Mm,
that you haven't heard of before,
right.
um, and talks about what they feel it could bring to your residents. And then actually by looking at it, you think this is something that we could do company wide. This is so valuable. So this is one of my home managers in Kent who was an army wife in Germany. We
Mm,
knew that about each other because we
right.
both
Yeah.
history. And she came and talked to me about the Royal Star and Garter's veteran friendly framework
Mm,
and what it meant, and that she'd really like to do it and implement it in her home.
mm,
But as we talked more and looked at it, I could see that this was a fantastic initiative for our group. It helps identify people who've served, veterans.
mm,
As we move through the process, it's also helping people that have left the services but still looking for employment, that may want to come and work for us as veterans or people that have served. Um, but particularly for our residents, what really resonated with me was knowing veterans and having those people running through my family, that their time of service is usually one of great pride, and there is a camaraderie and a language and sometimes some very choice songs that are sung in the crew room or the naffy room or whatever, that bring back lots of happy memories for people. So are those residents identified and recognised? And are we able to demonstrate that we would understand that part of their life and how important it might be to them now?
mm,
And also understand that we want to continue honouring their service.
mm,
So the work that we've done has brought about some incredible stories, Adam. There was
mm,
one family whose resident now has dementia, and their memory recall has changed.
mm,
They had photographs of their dad, but they didn't really understand what these photographs meant. But with the work that our team did with that particular resident, they reconnected the resident with people from his particular area of service. Who were able to provide the resident and the family with their service record.
mm,
Family were able to piece together this part of dad's life that they'd never really been able to understand properly before. So some amazing stories. We had a veterans visit one of our residents from the same hall in one of our homes who is non-verbal, who
mm,
engaged so phenomenally with that camaraderie and conversation about similar service,
mm,
that it was just incredible to see. So we're very proud. One of our homes in London is the first non-military home in London to achieve veteran-friendly accreditation. And our first home in Kent, the same. The first home in Kent, although both homes that we have in Kent now have the status and accreditation. We were the first home in Kent to achieve that. So our goal now is for all our homes to be accredited to
oh, I
the
see.
friendly framework. And I will give a shout out to the Royal Star and Garter and a lady called Catherine Glass, who's been incredible in terms of
Mm,
supporting that framework. So, in the spirit of sharing, I think it's an amazing thing for the sector
mm.
to embrace, and to make sure that we recognise and continue to honour and support our veterans.
Mm, mm, that's great. Well, that's fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. And I think, yeah, as you mentioned, it has all the benefits that you've shared here today. So, certainly something I think care homes should be looking at 100%. So thank you for sharing. Great. So Amanda, we've covered a lot today, and congratulations, as I've said, mentioned before. So is there anything that you feel you would like to share, maybe that you've missed up to now?
So these podcasts are a great opportunity to share, processes or
Yeah.
initiatives. We have lots of other forums for talking about the macroeconomics and the microeconomics and the regulatory world that we occupy at the
Mm.
moment.
Mm.
Um, I think we can all see what's happening in there. I just remain incredibly proud to be part of this sector,
Mm.
and I have the hugest of respect for all the leaders and the teams that deliver this. And I was so proud to see providers unite, bring together the sector
Mm.
to march peacefully and have our voice heard. I thought it was so powerful.
Yes.
Um, Whether that powerful demonstration of concern and
Mm.
plea for understanding is listened to is yet to be seen.
Mm.
But I
Mm.
watch very closely, and there were some amazing people out there that have brought
Mm.
everybody together to make that happen.
Yeah.
It's so important to us, in social care and the sector that we work in, to continue to have a united voice. And I think
Mm.
that's going to continue to be even more important as time moves on, not less important.
Mm. Amanda, that's a very strong point to end this episode. So thank you so much, Amanda, for being coming back again
You're
on
welcome. I
SEO
enjoyed
Success
it.
Stories podcast. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you for inviting me, Adam.